Hello everyone, this is Tactical Lich here and welcome to another battle replay. Today we are showcasing another meme build, but this time not played by me, but by Human Boy Yes Yes as my opponent here, bringing the Bretonnians and stacking enough chevrons onto men-at-arms polearms to give them a massive boost in leadership and melee stats. Now, we have some men-at-arms polearms with 3 gold chevrons, not only 1 but actually 3 of these elite men-at-arms, elite peasants, combined with the battle pilgrims, who are also upgraded all the way to gold chevron. They have some sturdy leadership, 95 on these battle pilgrims, 75 on these men-at-arms polearms, and combined with other leadership effects, say the flank secured. Also, we have the general and heroes of the army supporting these peasants, providing that extra leadership buff. And don't forget about some dead Grail Knights, the Grail Relicae, providing extra leadership as well as the immune to psychology, making all the elite peasants surrounding the Grail Relicae virtually unbreakable, holding strong in combat. Now for the rest of the build, we have some peasant bowmen at the back providing fire support, basically a staple for Bretonnian armies. In the front we have some peasant mobs for more bodies. On the flank over here we have a defenders of Fleur-de-Lis as well as a Knights of the Realm for the mobility. As for leadership, we have Gotrek and the Fey Enchantress as well as a Paladin for that Guardian effect, and that's it for the Bretonnian army build. Now, for the Tomb Kings here led by yours truly, we have a front line of skeleton warriors mixed in with the Nekara warriors. They should be able to do decent damage against the peasant units, but today these peasants are very different. 48 melee attack, 39 defense on the battle pilgrims, and also 50 melee defense on the men-at-arms polearms. These Nekara warriors will have a hard time doing damage to these elite peasants. Now at the back we have some elite tomb guards with halberds, also a single unit of King Nakash Scorpion Legion protecting the Lich Priest, as well as the Casket of Souls, which will be responsible for the firepower of the Tomb Kings. Also for mobility we have a Necropolis Knights, actually 2 of these guys, supporting the Tomb Prince and a Tomb King, and that's it for the army builds. Let's get the battle rolling and witness the glory of the full gold chevron peasant army led by Human Boy Yes Yes. As the Bretonnian peasants marched to battle, I targeted the peasant bowmen with my Casket of Souls here, as I expected these peasant bowmen to be a rather huge threat to my general units, as their cheap firepower can really do some cost-effective damage to the lightly armored skeleton units. However, what I did not do and make a big mistake is that I didn't check the chevrons on these men-at-arms, expecting that the casket will silence the archer fire while my Nekara warriors will clear out the infantry of the peasants. However, this will not be the case here, as they have 50 melee defense while the Nekara warriors only 32 melee attack. They won't be doing too much in that melee attack. Although the Casket of Souls is doing quite a bit of damage to all these peasant bowmen, eliminating them before they can start doing some counterfire to the casket. But the front line isn't going too smoothly right now, as the skeleton warriors are not making any headway against the heavily buffed up men-at-arms, while over here we have the Shield of Thorns further buffing up their defensive capabilities, helping them tanking out even longer against the Nekara warriors, while the peasants are counterpunching hard, especially the battle pilgrims. With their improved melee stats, combined with Frenzy and also the Shield of Thorns base weapon damage buff, they are blending their way through the Cambrian soldiers with their swords. While over here, the Net of Amantog managed to catch some cavalry of the Bretonnians, and now allowing the Snake Knights and Necropolis Knights to charge in and dish out some massive damage with the support from the Tomb King's characters, trashing this whole unit of defenders of Fleur-de-Lis in a single charge. And with the elite Knights errant gone, they will be moving on to this unit of Knights of the Realm. And with that, the Tomb Gods are pushing in, trying to get some damage done to drag down these Knights of the Realm, especially with the help of the Tomb Prince, the buff from the Barona's Time Warp with that melee attack. While at the back, we have some Necropolis Knights on standby, and the King Nakash Scorpion Legion will be blocking up these battle pilgrims. However, the front line is going in favor of the Bretonnians, as the battle pilgrims, the holy wardens of La Maison Tal, and also the peasants have punched through. Even the Necro warriors here have not been doing too much damage, 88 kills, but even after 600 damage value cutting through a bunch of peasants, that is still not enough to carry the game. The skeletons are crumbling to dust while the peasants are still largely intact. These Necropolis Knights here are still yet to go into combat. They really should start chasing after the peasant bowmen, as charging peasant men-at-arms with halberds isn't exactly the greatest engagement for them. While in the front, the men-at-arms polearms are pinned down by the Scorpion Legion alongside with some wardens of La Maison Tau. If not for their upgraded leadership, they will certainly be routing right now, as they are desperately clinging on to their morale under all the leadership penalties from the fear and terror of the Tomb King's characters, Necropolis Knight's rear charge, and the cascade bombardments. This piece of Tomb King's artillery has been tirelessly firing throughout the whole battle. 178 kills, 1 chevron, definitely doing some decent damage. While in the front we have some men-at-arms finally being run down and terrified by the Ushabtis, the Necropolis Knights, but they have been counter-punching hard, dragging down all the Necropolis Knights down to around half health, even these ones who have been running down some peasant archers. The Snake Cavalry might have a fierce charge, but the Unbreakable Peasants are holding with their high level of melee defense and leadership, refusing to back down. Plus, the melee attack 29 and the bonus versus large on these men-at-arms are dragging down the elite cavalry of the Tomb Kings. Balance of power is in favor of the Tomb Kings right now, but the Bretonnians are far from being done. They still have a lot of healing from the Fey Enchantress. Over here we have Gotrek cutting down some Tomb Gods, not especially a good fight for either of these units, as Gotrek being surrounded by infantry is not his moment to shine, while the Tomb Gods are being stuck on a single hero while they are so much more needed in this blood fight. Without infantry support, now the Necropolis Knights have taken some massive damage due to the Paladins' presence, the Battle Pilgrims, men-at-arms, and my characters are desperately trying to pin down the Fey Enchantress and finish her off, but she's not taking any damage for some reason. The Tomb King is simply having a difficult time landing any hits on her. Sure, the Fey Enchantress melee debuff does come into play, but it is obvious that there is something more going on here. Almost as if RNG is messing with the Tomb Kings right now. At the back we have the Cascade of Souls. It has put in a few shots into the pleasant blob in the middle, doing some nice damage. Now switching targets to the archers to kill off all the fire support. The peasants, the late game peasant mobs, are pushing in with the heroic support. They are now dragging down all these Tomb Gods surrounding them, overwhelming them with the peasant bodies, while over here my elite cavalry have fallen to the endless tide of peasants. This one remains with only 6 models left and no healing for the Tomb Kings. The elite peasant hordes are dominating every single engagement while the Tomb Kings are running out of bodies. Things looking rather grim for the Tomb Kings. Tomb Prince finally converging onto the Fey Enchantress, trying to focus her down, but for some reason she's just not taking any hits, so that was rather unfortunate. And at the same time, don't forget the Paladins are doing some nice anti-large damage to the characters. There are still a few Knights of the Realm surviving, 12 models only, but enough to drag down the Cascade of Souls, unable to fire all their ammo. This is a huge waste of the Tomb King's resources, and also balance of power, as it is ebbing towards the favor of the peasant of Bretonnia. And now with only pretty much the heroic units remaining for the Tomb Kings, all these peasants are blobbing up, knowing that I do not have any area of effect damage as the Cascade of Souls has fallen or about to fall, while my heroic squads will be stuck in melee as they are the only single entities remaining in combat, surrounded by Fey Enchantress, by the Paladin, by the anti-large armor-piercing men-at-arms. He will be going down with a fight. At last, Barona's Time Warp is dropped onto this area, squeezing out the last bit of magic to provide one last buff to the Tomb King's attack, but no matter, army losses is hit, the Tomb King's crumbling back to dust, and the Bretonnian Crusade will march on. GG to Human Boy Yes Yes for showcasing this Unbreakable Peasant build. The elite peasants here really surprised me, as I was being lazy when I checked the units. I only see that they are men-at-arms and battle pilgrims, so I did not bother checking out the chevrons, and in the end underestimating these elite peasants, spending my precious ammo onto the peasant bowmen instead, when I should have been finishing off all these elite infantry of Bretonnia with the casket shots. And this mistake really cost me the game here, as in melee, the peasants overpowered my skeleton infantry and dragged down my necropolis knight, who were fighting valiantly and actually gained an upper hand in the mobility fight. However, unable to finish off the peasants means that the Fey Enchantress, the hero squad, Gotrek the Paladin, were able to be shielded from all the monsters, while the Fey Enchantress will be draining away the health of the Tomb King's units with the Mist of the Lady, while Paladin, his anti-large damage, also Gotrek's anti-large armor piercing, has been able to dish out some significant damage to my elite units and hero squad. So in the end, the peasants were able to support the hero squads, helping them to carry the game. The peasant mobs were there for the bodies to saturate on top of the skeletons and also absorb the damage for the men-at-arms, allowing the men-at-arms, these two not doing too well here, but they survived till the end. But this one in the middle, 1000 gold value, definitely a cost-effective trade. And then the Grail Reliquary was able to provide that leadership boost and immune to psychology for these peasants in the end game, shielding them from the terror and fear of my Necropolis Knights, helping them to hold even longer in combat. While the Battle Pilgrims, 600 gold value on both of them, not really doing too much damage to the hero squads and whatnot, but mostly clearing out a lot of the skeleton units, especially with their buffed up melee stats. The Wardens of La Maisontal, 850 value, not too shabby, while the Peasant Bowman got focused down hard by the Casket of Souls, not doing too much value overall, while the Bretonnian Cavalry, the usual powerhouse of Bretonnia, was actually overpowered by all these Necropolis Knights. As for the Tomb King's army, the skeletons were not able to do too much damage, especially these Nehekara warriors being overwhelmed by the elite peasants, while the Tomb Gods not getting a decent fight overall, some of them being stuck on the elite peasants, while the other getting chopped apart by Gotrek. They dragged down a lot of knights doing quite a bit of value, but they were not really fighting the fight they need to be, supporting the Tomb King's heroes against the Bretonnian hero squads. The Necropolis Knights, both of them did really well, recovering all their value, getting some chevrons back, just that in the end, without any infantry support, they were dragged down by the peasants, the Paladin, Gotrek, and the Fey Enchantress. Casket of Souls, a powerful artillery piece, getting 250 free kills, 2 chevrons, almost 2000 value. Unfortunately, without infantry protection as they were shredded by the peasants, the Knights of the Realm, despite being battered, were able to finish off the casket, while the King Nakash Scorpion Legion was no match for these Wardens of La Maisontal and the Gold Chevron Peasants. As for the Tomb King's hero squad, we have the Tomb Prince here, the Lich Priest and the Tomb King, none of them actually recovering their value as they had no good targets to fight other than the Knights of the Realm. The Fey Enchantress was on foot, Gotrek as well, so that the anti-large bonus for the Tomb Prince was not actually in effect, and the good RNG, the Mist of the Lady melee debuff from the Fey Enchantress, helped the legendary caster of Bretonnia to survive the Tomb King's character melee onslaught. The Byrona's Tarm Ward from the Lich Priest was able to aid the Necropolis Knights against the Bretonnian Cavalry, but up against Peasant, it was not quite enough. So overall, a very creative build from Human Boy Yes Yes, utilizing all those leadership buffs, the melee defense stat buffs from the Chevrons, the Grail Reliquary, Bretonnian characters, to aid the peasants, helping them hold in battle much longer than they usually would have, surprising his opponents, that is in this case me, who don't usually check chevrons on gaining an upper hand in a straight up melee grind where the Bretonnians would have usually lost. Really liking this build here, but unfortunately I only had this one replay, so I was not able to do a full army build analysis for this build. Now, I've mentioned this in my previous video before, but I'll still mention it again. Now, Human Boy Yes Yes has his own YouTube channel that has a bunch of more battle replays for multiplayer and also a bunch of multiplayer streams, including interesting tournaments. So if you want to see more of his content, do go feel free to check it out. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to get notified every time I upload a new video. They'll be covering topics including battle replays like this one, wild army builds, tips and strategies for Total Warhammer multiplayer, and occasionally some meme videos. And if you have any replays that you want to showcase, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email with the replay file attached. I'll be sure to check them out. And yeah, that's basically it for today's battle. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.